He had Neymar's speed, Ronaldinho's flair, and Ronaldo's precision. Maradona applauded him mid-match, and Pelé's son hailed him as football's next legend. But just days before his move to Europe, Diener's story took a tragic turn. How did Brazil's god of dribbling rise to glory and fall into the depths of heartbreak? This is the forgotten tale of Diener, the legend who could have been. Tragically, he passed away at just 23 years old, mere days after sealing a move to Europe and 2 months shy of the 1994 World Cup. His absence was keenly felt, and many believe he was destined to shine like Ronaldo or the other greats mentioned. In fact, his legacy remains so powerful that parents in Brazil continue naming their children in his honor. Before his debut for the national team, there were no records of footballers with his name. Afterward, dozens emerged, with most being born in the years following his untimely passing. Diener's journey began in 1986, under challenging circumstances. At 15, he stepped away from football to support his family after losing his father. That year, a major youth futsal tournament captured the town's attention, featuring live broadcasts and an audience of 7,000, numbers that rival attendance at professional matches today. Scouts scoured the streets for talent, eventually spotting Diener and offering him a scholarship. However, Diener, true to his independent nature, rarely attended classes. Instead, he negotiated payments to play futsal, leveraging his undeniable skill to earn more money than most regular jobs could offer. During the tournament, Diener's talent was impossible to ignore. He dominated every match, leading his team to victory and attracting interest from top clubs, including São Paulo and Portuguesa, his childhood favorite. Signing with Portuguesa seemed like a dream come true, but it also exposed Diener's struggles. He was a streetwise kid, often absent from home, with his family resorting to attending matches just to confirm he was safe. Despite his lighthearted demeanor, Diener was deeply influenced by his troubled social circle, which led to frequent altercations and even brushes with the law. On one occasion, police interrupted a training session to arrest Diener for alleged armed robbery. Only the intervention of his club secured his release after 2 days in custody. Diener's resilience shone through these challenges. In a Paulista Championship game, he scored a legendary goal after weaving through half the opposing team. When asked about it afterward, he nonchalantly remarked, "I score goals like this all the time in training." Such confidence defined him, yet it wasn't always enough to keep him out of trouble. His flair and rebellious spirit brought mixed reactions, especially from the media, who were quick to criticize him when things went wrong. One infamous incident saw Diener injure himself attempting stunts on his motorcycle, leading to missed games and harsh scrutiny. Despite these setbacks, he dazzled on the pitch. In one memorable comeback against Santos, Diener turned a seemingly hopeless 2-0 deficit into a 3-2 victory, capping it off with a breathtaking solo goal. In the locker room afterward, he famously declared, "I am Diener, I decide when this game ends." Over the following year, Diener's life spiraled into infamy. He once arrived at training in a car riddled with bullet holes, a striking symbol of the chaos surrounding him. On another occasion, he was caught concealing a blade in his sock, allegedly plotting to harm a teammate. The media dubbed him a brilliant vagabond, encapsulating his unmatched talent and turbulent life. Unfortunately, this notoriety cost him his place on the national team, despite calls from football icons like two-time World Cup champion Pep, who publicly stated that Diener deserved more opportunities. Few players ever came this close to Pelé's raw talent, but it was evident that Diener's life needed a complete overhaul. The first step was escaping his hometown and the negative influences of his old friends. He negotiated a short-term loan with Grêmio, a club that had long dreamed of signing him but couldn't previously afford the deal. This move turned out to be a success. Diener led Grêmio to victory in the Gaucho Championship, further boosting his value. By the time he returned to Portuguesa, the club found themselves in a dilemma. His contract was nearing its end, and his wages had become unsustainable. As the club president put it, he was earning more than the entire team combined. At one point, I jokingly suggested renaming the stadium after him just to keep him. They knew it was only a matter of time before he moved on. In a surprising twist, Diener proposed a unique condition for renewing his contract. He wanted a Mitsubishi Eclipse as a signing bonus. At the time, Importing such a car into Brazil was nearly impossible due to strict regulations, making it a rare and coveted item. When the club managed to fulfill his request, Diener's spaceship, as he called it, became instantly recognizable across Sao Paulo. Adorned with Diener tin on the license plate and gleaming in all white, the car was a statement of his fame. Yet, unknowingly, this luxury symbol marked the beginning of a tragic chapter in his life. Meanwhile, events in Rio de Janeiro were shaping Diener's future. In 1989, Amanda Emilio Miranda had taken over as Brazil's director of football, steering the national team to a Copa America victory after a 40-year drought. A year later, Miranda, also Vasco de Gama's vice president, sought to secure Diener's services. At the same time, Jair Pereira, a manager renowned for leading Brazil to 2 under-20 World Cup titles, found himself out of a job after clashing with Real Madrid's president. Miranda saw this as the perfect opportunity and approached Pereira with a proposition. Pereira's only condition? Signing Diener. This bold move set the stage for Diener's next chapter. Joining Vasco da Gama was more than just a career move. It was a chance for Diener to rebuild his reputation and work towards securing a spot on the 1994 World Cup team. On his first day of training, his eagerness was palpable. When the coach instructed players to jog around the pitch, Diener bolted with such enthusiasm that he slipped, hit his head, and passed out, much to the amusement of his teammates. This exuberance carried over to his debut against Newell's Old Boys. The spotlight was supposed to be on Maradona's return from injury, but Diener stole the show. Within minutes, he weaved past 5 defenders and nearly scored. Maradona himself was in awe, shaking his head in disbelief. After the match, Maradona stormed into Vasco's locker room, demanding to meet Diener and shaking his hand, a moment that became legendary. Despite his brilliance on the pitch, Diener's life off it was tumultuous. Although he financially supported the mother of his 3 children, he was openly dating other women. Tragedy struck when his girlfriend at the time passed away in a car accident during Carnival, leaving him devastated. Nonetheless, Diener's exceptional form earned him a $3 million transfer to Stuttgart. But just days after signing the contract, fate took a cruel turn. Determined to drive his prized Mitsubishi Eclipse from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro, Diener ignored his family's pleas to wait until morning. Accompanied by Otto Miranda, a controversial figure with ties to arms and drug dealing, Diener set out on the 5-hour journey. Otto offered to take turns driving so they could rest, but the plan went horribly wrong. Nearing Rio at dawn, Otto fell asleep at the wheel, causing the car to crash into a tree. Otto survived with broken legs, but Diener, who had reclined his seat too far, suffered fatal injuries when his seatbelt constricted his throat, leading to suffocation. The haunting images of Diener, covered by newspapers at the crash site, were broadcast across Brazil. The nation mourned. Just weeks later, Ayrton Senna's death compounded the grief, making it one of the darkest periods in Brazilian sports history. To add insult to injury, Diener's family faced years of legal battles to claim the $3 million insurance payout, which Vasco had failed to properly file. Months later, Otto Miranda was assassinated, adding another layer of tragedy to the story. Diener's life was a whirlwind of breathtaking brilliance and unimaginable tragedy. From dazzling Maradona to his tragic final drive, his story remains a haunting reminder of football's untapped potential. Do you think Diener could have rivaled Ronaldo or Neymar if fate had been kinder? Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more untold football stories. Until next time, keep the spirit of the game alive.